right, so we're going to continue factoring trinomials, except now you're going to have a coefficient in front of x squared. So a is not equal to 1. That changes the game up a little bit. This lesson we're going to look at just plus only. So that does kind of sort of help it out a little bit there, and then we will move on from that and moving on with some plus and negatives. Now, what I'm going to show you is called the box method. And you can use this when you're factoring with a when a is equal to 1. So if you want to go back and do that, then hopefully you're getting pretty good at it now. But I'm going to show you this way because for me, this way is way better than the guess and check way. That's pretty much how I was taught. You just guess and check. Like just plug some factors in there, multiply them out, see if it works. Well, this works every time. So I'm going to show you how it works. So remember when we did factoring trinomials, we found just the factors of C. Well, that's not necessarily the case anymore. We're going to find the factors of A times C. So remember that when we have our standard form, we have ax squared plus bx plus c. That's our standard form. And so anytime you see that, that's just what that means. So I want to find factors of A times C that add together to give you that add to B, of course. Okay. So now then we'll fill in our box and move outwards. So let's see here. I'm going to find factors of 10 that add to give me 11. So I got 10 from 5 times 2, or excuse me, 2 times 5. So I got 10 from those two. So I multiplied those two coefficients. I'm just finding the factors of 10 that are going to add together to give me 11. That's going to be 1 times 10 and 2 times 5. Those are the only factors that we have. So 1 plus 10 gives me my factors. So now I'm going to go fill in my table. So the first term and the last term. So A and C go here. So I have 2x squared and 5. Those go in those two boxes there. And then I'm going to have my two terms my two factors I just now found, 1x and 10x. Because if I were to add up all of these, it would give me this trinomial there that I'm trying to factor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find the greatest common factor, which is why that first lesson is so important. Find the greatest common factor of each vertical boxes or columns, and then rows horizontal. So the greatest common factor between, I'm going to call this column, I'm going to call this 1. So column 1, this is like column 2, and this is row 1, and this is row 2. So this greatest common factor of column 1 is just x. There's not a number that goes into 2 and to 1 that's bigger than 1. And then I have a greatest common factor of column 2, which is going to be 5. Now, since there's not an x down there with 5, I can't say 5x, okay? Then I'm going to find the greatest common factor of row 1, which is going to be 2x, because 2 can go into both of those, and the smallest power of both of those is going to be x. So that's where x comes from. And then I'm going to move down to the bottom row, which is going to be 1x and 5. That greatest common factor is going to just be 1. So when I go to write out my factors, I have x plus 5 times 2x plus 1. Those are my factors. Seems crazy, I know. And I'm telling you, this is a million times easier than what I learned. So it's just x plus 5 times 2x 2x plus 1. So that's your answer here. Okay, now we're going to look at example 2 here. And we're going to find the factors of 3 times 56. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 56 here, and I am going to get 168. And I'm going to find factors of that add together to give me my 31. So 1 times, this might take a little while. Now, usually I keep writing all the factors, but once I find my one that is going to add to give me the 31, I'm probably going to stop. I'm getting really close. 6. Here we go. 7 times 24. You can't see that. Those are my two factors. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, so now I'm making you draw your own box. So I have my box here. I put my first term in the top left-hand corner there, so it's going to be 3x squared, and then c goes in the bottom, which is 56, and then my two factors, 7x and 24x. Remember, then you find greatest common factors of each column and each row. So greatest common factor of the left column is going to just be x, and then the greatest common factor on the right side is going to be 8. So this one's that was a tricky one because I kind of wanted to say 3, but it's not. It's 8. So the greatest common factor there is 8. Then I'm going to find the greatest common factor of the top row, which is going to be 3x, and then the greatest common factor of the bottom row, which is going to be 7. So my two factors here are going to be x plus 8 times 3x plus 7. All right, so now let's look at our last example. This one's not nearly as challenging, so you're welcome. The middle one was a hard one. So I'm going to find factors of 6 times 12. That is what I'm going to try to find factors of that it's going to fill in my table. So 6 times 12 is 72. So I have a 1 times 2 times 3 4 times 10 and 8 times 9. So has quite a few factors here. So looks like 8 and 9 are going to be my factors. So I'm going to fill in my a, which is 6x squared and 12, and then 8x and 9x. Again, finding greatest common factors for each column and each row. So greatest common factor left column is going to be 2x, and greatest common factor on the right row is going to be 3. And then top row is going to be 3x, and bottom row is going to be 4. So I have 2x plus 3 times 3x plus 4. So just some final notes I want to make sure that you are aware of. Remember, you're going to find factors of AC, which is A times C. That's how you're going to get your two factors. So this would be like B1x, and this would be like B2x. So like that, those are going to be your two factors. So that's going to be equal to B1 plus B2. Okay, those are going to be those two middle ones. And then you have AX squared is going to be the top left-hand corner, and C is in the bottom left-hand corner. Then you find greatest common factors all the way through. And so then that will give you your two factors. I'm telling you, I know it seems like a lot of work, and factoring really is a lot of work, but this box method is a million times better than the alternative. So if you're like, can I have an easier way than doing the box method? The answer is no. This is it. Okay, this is the easy way to do it. Again, it's just kind of messing with numbers and being very familiar with some of those factoring stuff and some of your factors, knowing that, and then being able to add and subtract pretty well. All right, so that's it. This one does take a little bit longer. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and prepare you for it, but you guys got grit, so I think you can do it.